The story begins in a school where children were peacefully sitting and having their meals. Everyone seemed happy when suddenly, a girl's eyes started glowing blue. Her body began trembling violently, as if she was having a seizure. Moments later, she collapsed lifelessly to the floor. When the teachers rushed to check on her, they discovered she was dead. No one could understand what had happened to her. Soon, after conducting some tests, scientists discovered that it was a virus, one that only spread among children. Despite several efforts, finding a cure turned out to be impossible. In no time, 90% of the world's children were infected by this deadly virus. Even the best doctors couldn't save them. Then we see the President of the United States addressing the nation. He reveals that even his own son has fallen victim to this virus. However, he expresses hope that humanity, as always, will find a way to survive this crisis. A special department named CDC was established for this very purpose. Next, we meet a girl named Ruby, whose parents were celebrating her birthday and giving her gifts. They were pretending that everything was normal and happy, but the truth was, Ruby had already been infected by the virus. Her parents were terrified of losing her. That very night, Ruby couldn't sleep in her room and went to lie next to her mother, holding her hand. Suddenly, an orange light glowed in her eyes. Scared, Ruby ran back to her room. The next morning, everything felt normal to Ruby. But when her mother saw her, she seemed confused and asked, "Who are you? How did you get into this house?" Her own mother didn't recognize her. Ruby tried to convince her, saying, "I'm your daughter. How can you forget me? Look, you gave me this gift last night." But her mother assumed she was a runaway, mentally unstable child and called the CDC. Despite Ruby's cries and protests, the CDC team took her away and forced her into a bus filled with other children just like her. A guard with a gun stood watching over them, treating them more like dangerous criminals than kids. Soon, the bus arrived at the CDC headquarters, which had tight security. The children were taken inside one by one. When a boy tried asking too many questions, the guards beat him up harshly. Witnessing this, Ruby became even more frightened. All the children were then sent for medical checkups. When Ruby's turn came, the doctor informed her that the virus had caused a strange mutation in her body. The same was happening to other children too. The mutation was so severe that it was questionable whether they could even be called human anymore. Their DNA had changed, and with it, they began developing extraordinary powers. The scientists categorized these powers based on eye color. Those with green eyes were the most intelligent and placed in the safest category. Blue-eyed children had telekinetic abilities. They could move objects without touching them. Golden-eyed ones could control electricity. These three types were considered relatively safe. However, some children had red or orange eyes. These cases were extremely rare and highly dangerous. The moment such children were discovered, they were ordered to be terminated. During Ruby's test, the doctor discovered she had orange eyes. Immediately, the screen flashed the word terminate. Without telling Ruby, the doctor silently prepared a syringe, likely meant to end her life. Ruby sensed something was wrong and tried to run. The doctor quickly caught her. Before he could inject her, Ruby grabbed his hand and insisted she wasn't orange, she was green. In that moment, her eyes briefly flashed orange. Realizing her true power, the doctor quietly changed her records from orange to green. This meant Ruby had the power to control people's minds. After that, all the children were dressed in uniforms based on their assigned category, green, blue, or golden. Ruby noticed there were no children in red or orange clothes. They had probably already been executed. 6 years passed. The tasks that intelligent green-eyed children completed with ease were difficult for Ruby. One day, a captain named McManus noticed this and remarked, "With that brain of yours, you don't seem like a green." Ruby became nervous. As she was returning to her room with her group, a high-frequency sound suddenly blasted through the speakers, a sound only the special children could hear. Ruby fainted. When she regained consciousness, she was in a medical room with a female doctor sitting beside her. Soon, a guard entered and told the doctor that time for treatment was over and they had to leave. Before going, the doctor secretly wrote something on a piece of paper and left it for Ruby. The note read, "They found out the truth about you. If you want to live, meet me in the boiler room." Ruby followed the instruction and sneaked into another room. The doctor helped her escape unnoticed and took her to her car. As they were about to exit the base, a guard stopped them. But Ruby used her powers to control his mind and made him open the gate. Finally, Ruby was outside, seeing the world after many years. She felt overjoyed. The doctor explained that most of the young population was gone, and many cities had been abandoned. Ruby asked to meet her parents, but the doctor warned that it was too dangerous. She gave Ruby a GPS locket and told her to use it in case of danger, so they could track her location. The doctor also informed her that she was taking her to a camp where more children like her lived. After a while, the doctor met with one of her partners. When Ruby shook hands with him, she suddenly got a disturbing vision of children running for their lives. Later, while Ruby was changing clothes, she encountered another girl, a golden-eyed one. The girl was so frightened upon seeing Ruby that she attacked her with electricity and ran to hide in a van. Despite being attacked, Ruby chased after her and pleaded for help. Touched by Ruby's sincerity, the golden-eyed girl opened the van door and let her in. Inside were two more people, Liam and his friend. Ruby lied and claimed she was agreeing, but people were still after her. Listening to her story, they decided to help her. Meanwhile, both a government team and the doctor were tracking them. During a chase, Liam, being a blue, used his powers to destroy the enemy vehicles, allowing them to escape safely. Later, they stopped in a remote place. Liam's friend was puzzled about why Ruby was hiding like a fugitive if she was just a green, claiming she posed no threat. Knowing the truth but unable to explain, Ruby snapped and said, "If you don't want to help me, just say so and I'll leave." Liam calmed her down and revealed they were headed to a place where a boy with orange eyes lived, someone powerful enough to keep them all safe. He invited Ruby to join them. Ruby immediately agreed. On the way, she asked Liam why they had escaped the base. Liam explained that the government had been conducting strange experiments on them. They were trying to build an army of children to use as weapons against enemies. That's why they all planned their escape. Meanwhile, the doctor who had helped Ruby was captured. After a brief interrogation, she was executed. That very night, while sleeping, Ruby's hand unknowingly brushed against Liam's hand, and she suddenly began to see all of Liam's memories, how he had tried to save many children while escaping from the base, but had ultimately failed. The next morning, the Golden Girl gave Ruby a red dress, in which she looked very beautiful. After that, all of them got back in the van and continued on toward their destination. On the way, a recording of the president's son played, in which he was saying, "If I can get better, then why can't you?" After a while, they stopped at a mall to buy some supplies, which was completely deserted. Suddenly, some other kids attacked them. The Golden Girl used her powers to stop them. Actually, those kids were just like them, with magical powers of their own. That night, all the kids sat together and talked for hours. During this time, Liam tried to find out the location of the orange boy so they could all get to safety as soon as possible. But those kids said no one could reach there easily because it was a top-secret location. However, Ruby took control of one boy's mind and got the address from him. It was a special code. Liam's friend and Ruby then worked together to decode it. After some time and effort, when they finally cracked the code, everyone was overjoyed. At that moment, all their friends were also present, and they finally understood that Ruby wasn't a green, but actually an orange. Ruby feared that her friends might now be scared of her, but Liam believed there was nothing to be afraid of. Ruby then confessed that she couldn't fully control her powers, and if she accidentally used them on someone, it could even lead to their death. They continued on their journey, but after traveling for a while, they were suddenly attacked by kids dressed in military-style clothing. One of them recognized Liam, and during their conversation, Liam told them they were simply looking for a safe place to live. Hearing this, the kids took them to the orange boy, who was actually none other than the president's son. He was very happy to see Ruby and her companions. He then revealed that the president had lied to everyone by saying he was completely healed. In reality, he had been subjected to numerous experiments, and when none of them succeeded, the government started creating camps to hold the children. He also promised Ruby that he would teach her how to use her powers. From that point, Ruby began to understand her powers slowly and started learning to control them. One day, when she was feeling especially low, the orange boy came to meet her. He said, "Only one orange can truly understand another orange," and then he held her hand. At that exact moment, Liam saw them together, and he did not like what he saw. Holding Ruby's hand allowed the orange boy to see all her memories. That's how he came to know what had happened to Ruby that night. In fact, when Ruby went to her parents that night, she accidentally held their hands and erased all their memories, causing them to forget even her. Seeing this shocked the orange boy deeply, because even he didn't know how to do something like that. Now he wanted to learn it from Ruby. But Ruby told him that she herself didn't know how she was able to do it. A little later, when she stepped out of the room, she met Liam, who was very upset. He told her he knew exactly what was going on between them. Ruby tried to explain that he had misunderstood and said that even if they wanted to, the two of them could never be close, because she feared doing to Liam what she had done to her parents. She then went to a lake, where she met Liam's friend, who told Ruby that he didn't feel safe there either. Meanwhile, the orange boy was on his laptop, reporting how many green, blue, and orange kids were with him. Just then, Ruby entered. Seeing her, he quickly shut the laptop. Ruby had actually come to take the laptop so Liam's friend could contact his family. The orange boy tried to make a deal with her. He would give her the laptop if she agreed to learn how to use her memory-erasing power from him. Ruby agreed instantly. But while learning, when Ruby opened her eyes, the boy was trying to take advantage of her. To protect herself, Ruby punched him hard in the face. As she stormed out of the room, she ran into Liam. After learning the whole truth, Liam was furious and wanted revenge, but Ruby somehow calmed him down, because she now realized they were no longer safe here and had to escape quickly. That very night, as they were escaping, the base camp general arrived, along with the orange boy. The children then realized that this orange boy was loyal to his father all along. He wanted to gather as many kids as possible and build an army. He then took control of Liam and began to beat him mercilessly. But Ruby managed to overpower the commander and killed him. Immediately after, the Golden Girl used her powers to attack the rest of the soldiers. Ruby then told her other 3 companions to go back, while she stood alone in front of the Orange Boy. She used her power to control the entire army and turned their guns toward him. But the Orange Boy regained control and turned the soldiers on each other. Despite Ruby's best efforts, he even managed to control Ruby herself. Then he told her that he would erase all her painful memories and rule the world with her. Just then, Ruby suddenly regained consciousness. She controlled a helicopter flying above and crashed it into the boy. A second helicopter tried to attack Ruby, but Liam's friend saved her, getting seriously injured in the process. Ruby was now at a loss for how to help him, until she remembered the GPS given by the doctor who had helped her escape the base. That meant she could trust her at least a little. As soon as she activated the GPS, the doctor and one of her allies arrived to rescue them. Soon, Ruby woke up on a bed and saw the doctor sitting on a chair beside her. The doctor told her that her injured friend was in the hospital and was expected to recover soon. But Liam was insisting on leaving immediately. No matter how much they tried to convince him, he refused to stay. And he wouldn't leave without Ruby. The doctor also said that their goal was to capture the president and expose his dark secrets to the world. But they couldn't do it without Ruby. Ruby didn't want any harm to come to Liam. So she got close to him and used her powers to erase all his memories of her. Then she handed him his bag and told him to go home. Liam agreed immediately. Watching the person she loved walk away without remembering her brought tears to Ruby's eyes. But she knew it was the right thing to do. On the other side, we see the president's son, who was still alive. He stood before his army, all of whom were under his control. Meanwhile, Ruby was fully prepared to face him. This is where the movie ends. The second part hasn't been released yet. When it does, we'll make a video. See you in the next one.